All right, I'd like to call the Harrison City Council meeting to order. Would you stand and join us in prayer? Pastor Jane Hofstetter will lead the prayer.
Let us pray. God of us all, we may call you by different names and we may worship you in many ways, but in our hearts we know you are at the center of our lives. And somehow in your eyes, we are all one. We ask that tonight you grant three things to these who serve you and serve this community. Grant them courage so that they may be concerned even for the least and the last. Grant them a spirit of hospitality so that they may lead us to be a community of welcome and goodwill. And grant them wisdom that their decisions may benefit the common good. Thank you for those willing to serve, for the sacrifice of time and energy made in our behalf. And as we debate the issues of importance to our community, teach us to do it with civility and respect for one another. Most of all, dear God, may we do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with you. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, would the clerk call the roll? Jason Briscoe. Present. Joe Crockett. Dan Sherrill. Present. Johnny Savage. Present. Dan Roberts. Present. Rick Griffin. Present. Dina Taylor.
Present.
Wayne Cone. Present. We have a quorum. All right. In your packets, you should have the minutes from your May 2nd regular meeting, your May 16th, and your May 30th special called council meetings.
At this time, Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we approve the May 2nd agenda, or minutes as presented.
Have a motion and a second to approve the May 2nd minutes as presented. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Now to make a motion, since there's two special call meetings for May 16th and May 30th, that we approve these two sets of minutes as presented in the motion.
Have a motion and a second to approve the two special call meeting minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, department reports. Police and fire, I don't know if you have anything to present, but I know Wade does from Public Works.
If acceptable to the council, I'd like to go ahead and bring up one of the items under new business as part of my department report. I've got a young man here, Skyler Caldwell. He's an Eagle Scout working on a project, and he's asked the city for a little bit of assistance. I'd like to go ahead and do this if it's okay right now so he can get out of here before we get into more business. What he's wanting to do, he's working on a stormwater pollution education type project, and he's been given a grant from the Arkansas Game and Fish, and there are rules that the Boy Scouts have to follow concerning large amounts of money being managed by one of their scouts. So he's asked us to set up a fund through the city that this grant money can run. That way the accounting on it is up to standard. They can feel comfortable that it's going where it needs to go. And Skyler is here. I asked him to be here and give him an opportunity to explain the project a little bit. Skyler, are you?
Okay. Yes, my name is Skyler Caldwell, and the project that I decided to do is to go around town and install medallions over all the storm drains. The medallions say on them kind of, keep the water clean, it drains to waterways, because some people don't realize that what goes in a storm drain goes into our waterways. And I have a picture here showing. It's going to kind of look like this. It's going to say no dumping, and it's going to say drains to waterways instead of river. And those, we'll probably order about 80 of those. and that's included in the grant. And then also I'm going to install a sign downtown, somewhere around the lake, that will have a map of the city and the waterways and tributaries that run into Crooked Creek, and have a bit of information on why it's important to respect those waterways, because Harrison's really built on its water and it's important to keep it clean. So as with this grant, because the Boy Scouts have this special rule, it would be good to have the beneficiary of the project, which is Harrison, hold the money.
The amount of the grant is $10,000.
Actually, it's, sorry,
I'm sorry, did I?
$2,573.
$10,000. I was thinking you said 10. Quite a bit different.
And all you're doing is just asking the city fund the money through us. You have a problem with that?
No, we can keep that through an account. It'd be just fine. Just have a we'll show it as a revenue and an expense account, whatever expenses he may have.
Wayne, you and I talked about this. Can you tell them just a little bit more about how he's going to do over medallions?
What those medallions will do, they'll screw down to the top of of our drop inlets around town where, sometimes we have people throwing oil or whatever else down there. And the idea is to let people know that does go to drains. It'll screw in and you'll glue them on also.
Yes.
That's what we talked about. They won't damage any of our concrete boxes or anything. And they'll look nice. This is quickly becoming a hot topic with ADQ in larger cities. It's working its way down here. Cities need to do stuff like this. So I think it's a good thing for us to work with Skylar on this project. It'll help give us a jump start on some of the stuff we'll probably have to be doing in the future.
Can you handle this in one of your standard funds, or will we need to set up an account?
As far as I'm aware, I can still hand it in a separate, or in our standard fund, journal fund, and I don't see any reason why we would have to set up another fund, but if we do, we can get that and just get that approved by council.
I think a motion would be in order for the approval of the city finance director handling those funds to assist him would be appropriate.
You made a good motion.
So moved. I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to allow the city finance director to handle these funds for this project. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, Skylar.
Thank you.
All right, any other departments have anything they need to report? I know Parks has a report down the list here, but
Touch on
Luke?
that.
sure.
You'll notice you had the April financials in front of you. I did put the cash balances on there. If you'd like to see more of that, just let me know. And it does go into fund balance and everything else on per each fund. The thing I did want to draw your attention to was the franchise fees that we collected for the general department. You can tell who and the amount.
Yeah, sure.
Last year, we received $126,000 to $127,000 from Windstream for their customers for franchise fees. This year, although they reported only about 800 customers less, their check was for $75,000 less. And that would directly affect what we had budgeted for the general fund. When we asked them about it, they had indicated that there was actually 8,000 customers, which was a drop in almost half of their, I believe, the revenue stream. That's how many customers they're saying they lost. However, that's not what they reported to us. We have asked them a couple times to look into it. We have not heard a response as of yet. But even with the 8,500, I believe the amount that we received was a little low. It was, I believe we received 50,000, and last year we received 127. So even at the 8,000 consumer mark, it still seems a bit low, but we have asked them about it, and they are looking into it, although we have not heard for about a week and a half now, I believe. But I did want to make you aware of that because that does directly affect the general fund budget, which is already scarce.
I spoke with the Windstream rep today on that and had not got an answer. She said she'd get back to me this afternoon and has not. The
I find it hard to believe their customer base has dropped in half in a year's time, and we're asking for some verification to that effect.
That's all my department reports. I think we'll get to everything else later on.
All right, committee reports, Community Environment, Services and Welfare.
Mayor, I had something come out of the committee last committee meetings, and that being our business license. And I think before you have a resolution there, everybody should look at it. And I'll make a motion that a resolution contracting with the Harrison Regional Chamber of Commerce to administer the business license program.
It needs to be a motion to place it on its reading. Pardon me, that one is just a resolution, I'm sorry.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution contracting with the Harrison Regional Chamber of Commerce on the business license fees. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
John, you want to address parks now, or you want to wait?
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, you can do it if you want to go on.
We can go on through, I guess, and just wait till it comes on the agenda. That's all I have, Mayor.
Finance Committee?
No report.
Internal Affairs?
No report.
Public Safety? No report. Public Works and Transportation?
Joe's not here, so we have that report.
And Resources and Policy?
We'll be doing that in ordinance and resolutions here in just a second.
All right. We have the business license ordinance on the agenda.
That's already, we just have to.
Well, this is the ordinance, right? Or
It's a resolution, it's just a resolution.
amending the sewer ordinance.
Okay, this has been through committee, we discussed this, and in front of you also, members of the council, you have the ordinance amending the ordinance number 1151 of the Harrison City Code 100805, use of public sewer, and for other purposes. This time I would ask that this ordinance be placed on its first reading
Second.
by title only.
I have a motion and a second that this ordinance be placed on its first reading by title only. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1151 of the Harrison City Code, section 10.08.05, use of public sewer and for other purposes.
Do we need to proceed on this?
No,
I think it's up the way, if he's in a hurry, it's up to you.
Next on my list, Mayor, is another resolution. This resolution authorizes Mayor Crockett to convey a city lot to Boone County Special Services, a nonprofit organization. This being a short one, okay, I will read it. It says, whereas Boone County Special Services has requested the city donate an unused tract, urban renewal lot, that is needed for a parking area by the Special Services. It is in the best interest of the citizens that this tract be conveyed for use as a parking lot for Boone County Special Services. Therefore, be it resolved by the Harrison City Council that the mayor is authorized to execute the attached special warranty deed of an urban renewal lot to Boone County Special Services. At this time, I would make a motion that we pass this resolution.
Second.
Bob Reynolds and Tommy Stokes are both here if any of you want to hear from them.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do you guys have anything you want to say to the council before we?
Just that we would really appreciate, we're actually using that lot, and part of our building is sitting on that lot that we built in the early 80s. So we've actually been occupying and using it for several years now. We just didn't realize until recently that we didn't actually possess it. And we're doing some expansion. We're adding classrooms, and one of the requirements to the additional square footage is additional parking. Well, we don't have additional parking when that lot, because we don't actually own that lot. So if you convey us that lot, that solves that problem as well.
This is an old urban renewal lot we received years ago, and just cleaning up the deed basically is what
Is
we're
that the
doing.
one on the east side of the Chamber of Commerce building?
Yes,
Okay.
between the chamber and their building.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a motion and a second on the resolution? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My next resolution, Resolution C, Harrison City Council requiring background checks for coaches, referees, umpires, and other personnel that assist with sports activities utilizing Harrison City recreational and sports facility. And at this time, I would ask that this resolution be passed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution regarding background checks of those on parks engaging with children. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under new business, we have a Parks Commission report, which is something that a citizen had asked for on a quarterly basis, and John is here to present.
If I could, I'd like to address the building on Eagle Heights first, if we can just get that out of the way. Since the Housing Association or Housing Authority has moved out of the old gym on Eagle Heights, I received today the email from Derek saying what, all the things that were wrong with the building and things like that. Before we get rid of the building or you decide to do something with it, I'd like to have the opportunity, and it'll probably be this fall before I'd have an opportunity to check, to try to check it and see if there is some use. There's a lot of things that we have a need in, both with the CVB and Parks and Rec. It's like class reunions, family reunions, birthday parties, and Taekwondo stuff. So I don't know whether it's usable. Probably the thing that he told me more than, that Derek's email told me more than anything else was the mold problem and things like that. I think, it's got a new roof on it, and they've spent quite a bit of money, and he was saying that it's utilities is like $500 a month. I don't know whether it'll cash flow or not, but I would just like to ask for an opportunity at least look at that and see if there's something that, a use that we can use it for, and go from there. So I don't know what the procedure is as far as coming through to the council or what it is, but we had a vote on it at the Parks Commission, and I asked them to give me the authority to approach y'all and see if that would be available, and so that's what I'm doing. And I plan on trying to check on all that stuff. I sure don't want to have something that just costs a lot of money to go through, but if we can piece it together and, it's about a lot and a half, I think, up there anyway. So, could be some use for it, and I'd just like to have the opportunity to at least look at it. And like I said, it'll probably be this fall before I can get involved in anything like that. So,
Are you thinking in terms of a lease or a purchase or what?
I don't know. I don't have any idea about that. First of all, I'd just like to find out if there's, if the building is fit to have meetings in and things like that. If there is, there's a possibility, maybe we can do something with it. I know that the restrooms, there's a number of things wrong with the building. I've only been in it once, and I'd like to look at it anyway.
City's gonna have to maintain that building anyway now.
Never sell it, more than clean
Sell it.
It needs some work.
Oh,
I've been up there a couple
yeah.
of times, and others, is it gas lines or water lines or something that are running? I think it's the gas lines that run outside.
Yeah. Well, it's right by the door there, I think.
I think we'd let some entity in the city have a go at it first, before we try to sell it. So
Should we just have him look at it and report back to us in the fall?
I'd say so.
I'd be glad.
Well, we're gonna have to take care of it all that time.
Don't want to let it sit too long.
Yeah.
The quicker you can get back to us, the quicker we can decide if we want to sell
It's
it.
going to be after July before
I understand, you're a busy time of year,
30
so.
days.
So,
1st of August, or August 15th, or August 30th?
September 1st?
September, I like September 1st better than I do August 15th.
Oh, I thought this first better.
But I plan on trying to see if there is a use for it and, you know, try to come up with an idea of how much it's going to cost to rehab it if, you know, whatever that is. I do know that Housing Authority has spent quite a bit of money on it, you know, trying to get it where they could be in it, so.
I move we let John, or the Parks and Rec, look at the building, and they'll have till September 1st to make a decision.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to get Parks and Rec till September 1st to look at the Housing Authority building. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next thing is I have you a little handout to everyone. Since I haven't done it in a while. First thing I'll talk to you about, and there's not a copy of this, this is on baseball and softball. I'm going to kind of go over the things that we're doing right now so you'll have an idea. In baseball and softball, we have over 800 kids in baseball and softball, 12 leagues, 71 teams. Girls teams from out of town, we have Blue Eye and Yellville. Boys teams, we have Alpena, Valley Springs, Birdman, Green Forest, Marshall, and Omaha. In the Little Sticks program, which is 3- and 4-year-olds, we have 20 teams, 140-plus kids. We have had 15 sponsored tournaments at Parks and Rec. We have 7 left to finish, and finish in July with Cal Ripken State, Babe Ruth States, and American Legion State Tournament AA. This fall, we are doing a renovation of the tennis courts, painting courts, new windscreen, new lights, new poles. If you haven't been down there, they have, I don't guess the present wooden poles are rotted, and they won't even hardly hold up the lights. So we've taken part of the lights down there, but it's going to require some work. At the soccer complex, we have had 4 or 5 Ks. And as payday, we handed out paychecks today, and we have 52 part-time employees in the department. So it's quite a few. The first thing addressed there is our summer rec program. We have 163 total kids enrolled in the summer recreational program. And there you see the layout of that. And we have probably 88 enrolled full-time. And then you can see what the weekly attendance is there, 82 the first week, and then this week we've had 91. There is, there's a real need for this program in the community. We've been very fortunate to have a great staff of about 20 college and some high school students that help us with that, and it's directed by Amanda Gibson. The next thing is the pool. We just opened it on Memorial Day. As most of you know, the pool, we've been very fortunate with the pool. It is, in the past several years, we've made a profit. And it's something that hasn't happened in most communities. And we're very fortunate to have Libby Salmon directing that and watching over that. Today we have had swim lessons today. It's kind of tough to be a kid in the cold pool today, but they're out there swimming. We have 6 swim lesson sessions. And those there's a few spots left, but most of them are full already. Then it shows you the attendance. You can see the days that it was rainy and things like that, so but we have averaged about 114. That is about all I have to say about those programs. I would like to comment on a couple of things there. In your packet that you have there, I have a letter for you, and I'll just read it. It's the comments at the last city council meeting last Thursday directed towards myself, and I felt like this, I don't know if that's true or not, but directed towards myself in the Parks and Rec Department, I feel need to be addressed. I would not ruin my personal integrity or the integrity of the department by stealing or by allowing theft to be going on. Parks and Rec does not pay anything in cash, including wages and overtime. Gate receipts are collected by individuals which I have confidence in and are trustworthy individuals. State legislative audit does yearly audits on Parks and Recreation. In 18 years, it's never mentioned, suggested, or implied anything about theft. Legislative audit has aided us in developing, implementing money handling policies. And if you look at the blue copies in there, that is that's kind of what we go by. All monies are received and recorded by 3 individuals before the money is deposited in the bank. They are checking the count, everyone's counts. Concession stands are inventoried 3 to 4 times per week by different individuals. You may not know that Parks and Recreation has 7 different concession stands across town to stock at different times of the year. Right now, we are using 5 locations. Some locations having considerably more business than others. We try to ensure that there is minimal in-house product loss. Concession receipts are handled in the same legislative audit policies as the gates. We are even now inventorying overnight after, it's all in. Last year in 2012, I kind of caved in and agreed to increase concession prices to meet margin expectations. It increased income, but it has also taken money away from local families who are at the city facilities 2 to 4 times a week. Harrison Parks and Recreation was founded on the following principles. Make Harrison a travel destination by attracting sports teams with lower entry fees and clean facilities. The main focus of this new thinking was to provide facilities and programs for the majority of our area youth. It's obvious this has worked well for Harrison. Now hundreds of communities want what we have. I, past commissioners and administrations have agreed that funding the Parks and Recreation Department was very important. Hopefully this belief will continue forever. The extent of the funding has always been what the city can afford. I've also provided you with correspondences between the mayor and Jerry Malin regarding these issues. All these things that I've given you were compiled basically last year when we were discussing the problems or supposed problems with margin and things like that. But Jerry Malin and the Parks Commission are very actively involved and informed in the operation and overview of our department. Over the years, the fees have been raised for participants and the services provided. You can see that in the that's in the green sheets that you have. When we raise fees, we always consider what will the effect be on the youth and their families that we serve. If you don't have programs and leagues for the youth in your community, you will soon not have anything. The question is, should Parks and Rec be a profit-driven entity or a service to the community? We have always tried to be good stewards of taxpayer money and to be a service to all entities that need us. Parks and Recreation has only been successful because the children, the sponsors, the commissioners, and the community as a whole has made it what it is today. Also there, I gave you the April budget, yearly budget report, and it shows you how we're doing financially for the year so far. You know, there's no doubt that, you know, we couldn't operate if we didn't have the city helping us. But I think that the city does have an obligation to help with the parks program, and in most places it does. And I just think that, you know, we try to do a good job. And I just want you to know it's very important to me that we continue to have a strong Parks and Rec department, and that and I understand that we are accountable to the citizens, the council, the Parks Commission, and the mayor, in that we try to make sure that we don't lose money or give money away. And that is something that, you know, I try not to do. I do try to bring in tournament teams and try to do things, you know, do a little bit different than what is done other places. But, you know, we've been fairly successful, and I think that it's very important that we continue getting support from everybody. And if the people in the community really thought that we were not being accountable and being good stewards of their money, I don't think we would have 73 sponsors. I don't think we would have 200 people that buy ads in our program, and the people that come out to the sports complex, soccer complex, and and youth center. I don't think that those people would be there, and we wouldn't have the numbers. So that's my report. If y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to dental and vision insurance options.
This could be a little longer. All right, I'm sure you all are well aware of what came down the pike last time, and I apologize again for that coming so soon. And unfortunately, we didn't have much time. We didn't find out about we had to change or enroll for dental and vision insurance again until about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5. As soon as we did that, we called and got some quotes from about 4 different dental companies, and I believe 3 different vision insurance companies. As soon as I was able to prepare that, which happened to actually be last Thursday, I got all my quotes and everything around, and I presented that. I apologize I was not here last Thursday to present it. I believe there probably would have been a different outcome, or at least more knowledge come of that meeting. However, we did have insurance enrollments this week. Once we had calculated all those numbers, it does not appear that we are going to be able to maintain the percentage needed to go with the dental and vision policies on Municipal League, which was what was requested to continue at the last council meeting. Again, I believe that was probably not conveyed, that we had to have 75% of our employees sign up for dental and vision to continue those insurance options, as well as our health and life insurance policies. We did get the numbers for medical and life insurance policies. We still have 13 people left to sign up, but we are already over the threshold for the 75% for medical and life insurance. So we will be able to maintain those through the Municipal League. I did send out a questionnaire along with our enrollments, asking if they would be interested in
Pursuing the Delta and IMED insurance, one, if the council was willing to pay the same portion, and two, if the employees would pay the entire portion. I did not calculate all of those that said they would pay the entire portion. I just have one that said yes. Most of them said it to both, some of them didn't. Some of them said that they would only be willing to pay the portion that they were paying currently, which I broke down for you in that spreadsheet last week. The dental and the vision were broken down the same amount that had been being paid for dental for a family. Is going to break down to be $57.73 a month that the employee would still have to pay, and the city would continue to pay the $29.01 as it had been with the municipal league insurance.
That's family.
Yes, that is family. For single, it was $9.14 that the employee would have to pay for. And that's in addition to what they have withheld currently. And vision for single was $4.68 and family was $14.66. There are some people that like the idea of going with Delta and IMED enough that they would pay the entire benefit because they do not believe that the insurance we currently have is worth pursuing. We actually had one person sign up for dental and vision to stay on dental and vision with Municipal League out of the 140 people that we've seen so far. Their response to me was we'd rather go without insurance than having that particular insurance because they could get it cheaper either by themselves or they could go pay cash and it would be better. That's just what their feelings were. But I did want to bring it to you to see if it would be possible for you all to reconsider going with the dental and vision with Delta Dental and IMED Vision Insurance and still paying the same portion as you had been with the Municipal League for the next 6 months. And that's my proposal to you all if you all are willing. And I'll entertain any questions you all may have.
Look, do you know if the Delta Dental is the same coverage?
Same coverage, same prices. They came in the same thing that they had in December. Luckily, most places, if you quit them for 6 months to a year, from my experience, the rates usually increase. They did not, and their benefits did not decrease.
So the benefits are the same?
Benefits are the same.
$1,000 annual on the dental?
Actually $1,200 on the dental, $1,000 orthopedic.
That's-
Lifetime max.
That's good.
I've only seen one other dental that's been, I mean, there are a few other options where it's $1,500 orthodontic, but usually that's pretty standard. The vision is actually cheaper than what we had, and it has better benefits. Not a whole lot cheaper, but it's $1 cheaper per month, and it's always good to save some money.
Well, I'm the one that asked you to represent this since I was in the black last week. Will there be a gap here?
No, there will not be.
There will not
Nope,
be.
we will start July 1.
Of course, I didn't know that 75% of the people had to enroll and a few other things and coming out the loss. But
Again, I apologize, and especially for springing it on you, but we had to make a decision quick, and unfortunately, it still has to be somewhat quick. But hopefully, we've gotten some information to you. But currently, we are without dental and vision insurance because we cannot get enough for Municipal League unless you all are willing to let us go with Delta Dental and IMED, hopefully with the same coverage as it has been budgeted for the general fund and I guess all funds actually.
I'll make a motion, we go with the Delta Dental and IMED.
Yes, sir.
IMED with the same funding
As
that we have in the budget. Second.
I have a motion and a second to go with Delta Dental and IMED with the same funding we have in the budget for the city's portion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We have a reschedule for the July 4th council meeting because that's our next, the first Thursday of July is July 4th.
want to go next week?
Do the 11th, and committee on the 18th.
We move the July meeting to the 11th.
Second.
We have a motion to move our July council meeting to July 11th. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last thing on the agenda, I have a Parks Commission appointment. I have a few comments to make about that. I appreciate John's diligence in making sure the taxpayers' money is accounted for, and that I appreciate the fact that he keeps Parks well apprised of all financial issues that happen at Parks. However, sweeping this kind of bullcrap under the rug all the time doesn't cut it with me. There's been, in the past, there is a Parks employee that is currently employed when there was $1,251 missing out of a safe. That Parks employee admitted during post-examination interview that in the past they had stolen small amounts from the Harrison Youth Center. During 2 polygraphs, they flunked. After the polygraphs, it was determined by the previous administration, several of which people were members of the council at the time, that the decision was to continue the investigation. After that, the detectives, who get totally frustrated when this kind of stuff happens, when they have a case, determined that they would subpoena the bank records of this employee. When they subpoenaed the bank records, the investigation was stopped by the higher-ups. They were told that it's okay to steal $1,251 from Parks. That's not acceptable.
That's not true.
Okay? I've got the police reports.
I understand that,
Okay.
but I mean, when you get done, I'd like to have a little
That's
about
fine.
that.
All I know is what the police
I
report
understand,
says.
I understand.
So, one of the Parks Commissioners that I discussed this with, when she worked at Walmart, had a $120,000 a year employee that stole $800. That employee was terminated. So, taxpayers' money deserves to be accounted for. And my original intent was not to be political or personal. My original intent was to put some members on the Parks Board that would be responsible and take care of business that needed to be taken care of. And that's what I'm attempting to do. And at that, I would entertain a motion to approve my appointment.
Can I say what I need to about that?
Yeah.
Okay. It is true that $1,200 disappeared, but the $1,200 came back, okay? I mean, it was back. I mean, so there was no loss at all in there.
Except you still got a thief.
Well, it's easy to say that you have a thief if that's what you think. But and it wasn't the current police chief, but, you know, we had a meeting with them, and the officers involved in it, and that's the way that came down, because all the money was in the safe, all that money was returned, so there was no actual theft. It may have been one day to the next, but it was all there.
My thoughts on that are, I had a car wash at one time, and one of my employees was stealing change out of the council and was caught. And I fired him. And his mother called me up, and his father was a police officer here at the time, and his mother called me up and said, "What'd you fire him for? It was only a little change, he'll pay you back." And I said, "I don't care whether it's a quarter or a Cadillac, he's a thief."
And I believe, and I would too. If I thought the person was a thief, I would.
Okay. Anyway, that's why I attempted to make some changes on the Parks Board. That's why I have made some changes on the Parks Board. Never intended this to be personal. I didn't start the fight.
I move that we accept the nomination for the Parks Commission that the mayor's put forth of Brandon Myers.
I will second it for the purpose of discussion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to say something, Mayor. Everybody on this council, I think, knows me, and they know where I stand as far as what's been brought up, honesty and integrity. It is obvious that the mayor is not going to appoint Mr. Malin back to the Parks Committee, and it is our responsibility as a council to approve an appointee made by the mayor to fill this position. With us not doing that, we're holding up the process of the commission itself, and also we're creating issues for the people that are being appointed. In this particular case, it's one individual, Brandon Myers, at this time. I think we as a council needs to move on with this. We either need to say yes to Mr. Myers or say that we're never going to accept Mr. Myers in this position and allow the mayor to present another appointee. But after the mayor appointed Mr. Myers the first time, I told Brandon, and I hope he doesn't mind me calling him Brandon, I told Brandon that before I would make a decision on him or anybody else, I would want to sit down and talk to him. And last week, I was able to sit down with Brandon at lunch, and we had a good discussion, and Brandon learned about myself and my feelings, and I also learned about Brandon. I have no problem with Brandon being appointed to this position. I think Brandon will do the Parks Commission a good job. I don't want personal interest to affect anything that we do for our youth in this area, and I think
Opposed? Motion carries. With that, I have a,
I also have one thing. I know committee meeting is coming up on the 20th. I will be out of town that week. As of right now, I know one thing that I need to be a part of the discussion, and I will make sure that whoever's on the committee gets that information as far as what I've got that needs to be brought up.
I will also be on that week. Municipal week.
so there's 2 out of that committee going.
You get an ordinance or resolution,
Well, it's dealing with the personnel change that we made earlier. We got to clarify something with police and fire.
Is that all?
That's all.
I have one citizen that wants to make a comment.
Meeting before last, I was here discussing quarter-cent sales tax for police department, resource, etc. And the mayor brought up the 1-cent sales tax, which I believe part of that would go to the police department to help their resource, etc. And it was a pretty quiet meeting, and I thank Dan for speaking up. Dan Sherrill had mentioned about getting all the ducks in a row on the tax thing first, and that's understandable. Dan Roberts had mentioned that it would be brought up in meeting after next, which is this meeting now. Got it right here in the Daily Times. And I know there's been a lot of discussion on heated issues and stuff tonight, but I don't want this to fall to the wayside. Can I get some comments about getting this one tax or the other on the next agenda? Nobody? Is the 1-cent tax issue a dead issue then?
Rick, Councilman Roberts has presented all councilmen with the idea, and it will probably come up in the committee meeting real shortly.
Okay. And if that does not come about, I'm still going to pursue the quarter-cent for the police department and the resource officers, and getting all the schools with a resource officer, which I feel is a very important thing. And I see that the college is moving in that direction to get armed security on campus, and the county is moving in that direction to get all the county schools covered with some kind of security. And I think we need the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other comments, I'd entertain a motion. Second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.